So it's not every day that I've been able to build a just beast mode gaming PC, let alone the chance to do it for a cause that's near and dear to my heart. So in this video sponsor, USAA, asked if I wanted to get in on this project and build this just insane beast computer for the US Naval Academy to use for their eSports team. I was all in on this. So let me walk you through the entire process from the concept to the actual build, cable management, to us actually bending the tubing to water cool this bad boy. Let me show you how we did it. So when it came time to designing and concepting for this build, it's something that was near and dear to my heart. My family lost our father-in-law in November, and he spent a large part of his career in the US Navy. He actually enlisted during the Vietnam War, and the Navy and the military has always been a really big part of his life. It was a big part of my wife's life, and in turn became a big part of my life. And there's not much that I can do now since he's passed to honor him. But knowing who he was, he would have really gotten a kick out of knowing that something that he was sort of in memory of was going to be on display and going to be at Annapolis, be at the Naval Academy. If you're not familiar with USAA, it's an insurance company that provides financial services to military members and their eligible family members. They have all kinds of insurance products that fit your needs, like renter's insurance. They also sponsor the athletic departments for the military academies, which we'll be building multiple PCs for. So yeah, this is build just number one, but more on that later. If you want to learn more about USAA, check out the link down below. So the whole goal for this was to build something totally bespoke and unique for the US Naval Academy to use for their esports team. Something that when they looked at the computer inside and out, there was nothing else like it. We opted to use the Lian Li's standing desk computer case. It's a glass top, has a button that lets you control the opacity of the glass, which is stupid awesome to see. We also have full RGB control for the inside components, all on the outside of the case. It seemed like a perfect battle station for the US Naval Academy. And to cut everybody off before they comment, we went with Intel for this one, and for our next build, we're gonna go to AMD and sort of try both to make sure that equal processing is equally represented. Building a PC is complex, but building a PC at this level was something that I felt that I needed to bring in an expert for, somebody who knew inside and out how to make this work perfectly, properly, and look as amazing as it deserves. So obviously we have to make something of this scope, match it in amazing specs, and to help me, a co-pilot who's going to do most of the piloting. A co-pilot in name only. This is Terrence, probably know him on social as the Poet. He is the expert, the maestro, the PC building master, who is going to be helping make this actually happen. So what's going in this beast?
Well, we have some really nice gaming parts. So Intel has always been known for having like really high clock speeds with its processors. So the very first thing I was like, okay, we're going with the 10900K. So then of course we went all out.
It exists.
Yes, we did.
This was hard to find.
Extremely hard to find. We had a great partnership with EK. I was just like reaching out to all of my partner friends. I'm like, hey, we need a GPU, please. And EK stepped up and also gave us the water block for it as well.
All right, so we're probably looking at a multi-day build. Yes. So day one now, what are you looking to get done before we clock out for the day?
So before we pass out, I'd like to get as much of the physical hardware in the desk as possible, and that gives us an idea of what the water cooling route should actually be. We need to get the power supply in here as well. That will help us understand what the whole cable management is going to be like for this desk as well. So we want to make sure we have an understanding of cable routes as well as the optimal routes for all the acrylic tubing that we're going to be doing as well. And then have to figure out where to put the pump.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's go. So we have the motherboard installed, and this is kind of an interesting PC case. So we have different options in terms of how we can install things. So part of this actually kind of comes up, so we can do a little bit of cable management too, which is kind of nice. We did put the i9-10900K on there with a very interesting thermal paste application. And we have the EK Velocity CPU water block on there. So it all fit perfectly fine. We do have the RAM. I love this style of RAM. And then of course the GPU. And then put the EK water block on there as well as the nickel plated backplate. Now 3090s run really, really hot. So I am kind of working with EK to hopefully get the active backplate on here as well. So that may come very, very quickly. So basically it'll be water cooling on the front and the back. We do have the M.2 NVMe drive in there. So that's a 2 terabyte. And then of course the power supply, which is kind of tucked over there, and it's an RGB power supply by Asus. Yeah, we have a lot more work to do. We have radiators to go in here. We're gonna put a 480 millimeter radiator right here. We have some really nice Lian Li fans we're gonna be put on here too, with RGB of course. And then really start to bend and acrylic and cutting and sawing, and it's gonna be fun.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, so what you just saw was day 1, day 2.5, and now we're on day 3. So what have we done and what's left?
We have done a lot here. So basically we're at the point where we need to kind of plan the loop a little bit more now. So there's a big filter in the front right here. So air is actually being pulled by these Lian Li fans through this copper radiator. It's a 480 millimeter radiator.
Okay.
And so all that cold air from the room is going to go through here, cool the fluid the inside of this copper radiator, and then the warmer air is going to kind of go into the case. And then we have a second radiator actually over here as well.
So what are we trying to get done by end of day today?
So we want to get as much of this bending done as possible. So cutting and bending. So I'm going to do certain things like joining the GPU to the CPU, CPU to the radiator, radiator to the pump, and pump to the other radiator. So we want to get this done as much as possible. Once you're in the system and you're really kind of finding your groove and getting everything done, then you're like, oh, this would actually look better this way, or this would actually be more efficient that way. So it's more just hands-on, getting in there and trying not to break anything.
Let's do it.
Let's get started. Where's my heat gun?
So the water cooling is done. It was a painstaking process.
A fun process.
A labor of love. So
Yes.
okay, walk me through the loop and what we have.
So this is all acrylic tubing, which is my favorite tubing. to
Hand
work
bent.
with. Yes, a lot of eyeballing right here. So this is a EKWB D5 pump res combo. So it's a pump and reservoir together, which is really nice and convenient. So this is the out right here. And so it's coming around into this 480 millimeter copper radiator. And so these are the Lian Li fans here, coming out of this radiator, going then into the, what I have is a kind of a really nice built-in drain valve. Then that's connected to the front radiator right here. And then this comes all the way to the GPU. So this is the RTX 3090, the Zotac 3090 with the EK front and active backplates. And then this is coming down into the water block, which is cooling the 10900K. And then out back into the top of the pump res combo.
So it's our moment of truth. Test boot, see if it works. You did the heavy lifting, or all the lifting. I think you deserve, I think you deserve to push the power button.
You know what? Because of the cause, I want you to push the button.
Okay.
And if anything goes wrong, it's on you.
All right, let's do it.
There we go.
Ooh!
John?
Sir?
We have a boot.
Woo!
One and done.
So before we do the finishing touches, install windows, and finish some of the final RGB stuff, a huge thank you to Terrence for teaching this extreme novice a thing or two about something like this. Probably one of the more complicated builds.
You just kind of dove in. You're like, I want to build a PC, and we did this, you know.
And I think what's especially cool about this, from like a personal standpoint, is like the reason for it. So obviously it was cool to work with the US Navy, it was cool to work with USAA, but to build it in like my father-in-law's honor. And to anybody who knew him, and when I told my wife and my mother-in-law what the idea was, like he would have loved this, to know that like this was going to be at Annapolis, was going to be used by the Navy. He would have just gotten a kick out of it. Thank you for making this possible, for honoring the memory of a really great man, and I appreciate it.
I'm honored to have just been a part of this, and I love the cause, and I mean, family first.
So I've had a second to like catch my breath a minute. Let's put the finishing touches on this and give you a proper tour. So the desk came together, I think, perfectly. All the components were expertly water-cooled, RGB to absolutely all the things, and the performance, I think, matches the aesthetics. So we got the Core i9 paired with the insanely hard to find 3090, 32 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabyte NVMe, 2 4 terabyte hard drives that we put into RAID 1. I love the custom RGB and the opaque glass on top. Again, can be toggled with just a flip of a switch. So for the monitor, we wanted something as just insane as the build itself. And the only thing that we could find that sort of came close to matching it was Samsung's Odyssey G9. It is a 49-inch, clearly widescreen monitor. And to sort of step up the customization here, we actually made sort of special 2 emblems for either side. So on one side, we have the emblem for the US Naval Academy. On the other, we have the emblem for USAA. And to sort of top it all off, we have a really big desk pad that we made that's got the US Naval Academy and USAA branding on it. We've got Rocket gaming peripherals, and we have the Logitech G X56 HOTUS for a really realistic simulation experience. So it was an awesome experience overall to build this. So to sort of see the whole thing come together and then work was also a really welcome surprise. And to do it for a good cause, in memory of a great man, was just a really incredible experience to do and to see. Just been a really fun experience. There aren't that many videos where I can look back and say, I'm gonna remember this. And I remember this one for years. And this is one of those videos that's special to me. It was also crazy fun to work on.